Peace and blessings, everyone. Let me make sure that I am connected to audio. I believe that I'm connected to audio. Peace and blessings. How are you? How are you? Please go ahead and share this broadcast out. My name is Tamara T. Bush, and I am providing clarity surrounding consumer law. Today is day 11. I'm super excited. And I'm going to be going over Truth in Lending 15 USC 1666, which is the billing error section of Truth in Lending. If you take a look at what you see on my screen, I am on the Cornell Law website, which is also described as the Legal Information Institute. So any of the laws that I'm going over, you can most certainly do a Google search for the specific law that you see in the subject matter of any of the videos that I do. And you can go ahead and look these laws up for yourself so that you can begin to gain your own sense of clarity in terms of how you understand this information. So go ahead and share out this broadcast. Anyone that you believe is going to benefit from this information, that would be greatly appreciated. I am just the messenger of this information, and I am just sharing my understanding of consumer law as I understand it and how it relates to me as a consumer. So if you are new to me, I am not an attorney, nor am I providing legal advice. I'm doing these videos to help people gain clarity. One of the things that is hurting us as a whole is the fact that we do not read. So I feel as though if we can just take the time out to read some of these laws and have someone to break it down in a way that's easy for us to understand, then we can be, better informed of our rights and how to properly assert ourselves as a consumer. Right, so put a 1 in the chat if you can see me or see my screen. If you can hear my voice, please put a 1 in the chat, and then also drop where you are watching from. Drop your city and state from where you're watching from, because we definitely like to have that information as well, to know where our audiences are. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, right? So one of the videos that I did last week, we went into Truth in Lending. We started from the general provisions section of Truth in Lending. And so this is going to be 15 USC 1601. I think I started from 1602 and I began to go over some of those definitions, right? So we're still in Truth in Lending, but we're just going to be going into the credit billing section of credit billing section of Truth in Lending, which is going to be 15 USC 1666 through 1666J. Okay, so that is the section that specifically talks about billing errors and how to go about correcting a billing error. Now, if you pull out any of your statements, credit card statement, loan statement, and you read the back of it, it is literally going to give you instructions on how to submit a billing error dispute. Typically, you'll see that it's going to say that you have to submit your dispute within 60 days from the date of the statement, right? And it gives you a specific address to which you need to submit your dispute. And so under Truth in Lending, Congress made it a requirement that lenders need to inform us of how to properly submit billing error disputes, right? So you all can read the fine print on the back of your statement to see exactly who you need to notify, if you need to notify more than one party, if there's multiple addresses listed, one address may be listed for a billing error dispute. You may see a separate address listed for your payment processing center, right? So your billing statement, your monthly billing statement is literally going to give you the contact information of the company, depending on what type of issue you're having with that company, right? And so this is why it's very important for us to make sure that we are able to physically read our statement every month. And like I said yesterday, these companies are trying to move us all into the digital phase, right, and paperless statements, but it is more beneficial for us to receive a monthly statement in the mail, physically hold it in our hand, and read the fine print that is on the back of that statement. Because if we do not do that, we're literally giving up, we're giving up our rights, right? And so we just have to make sure that we're aware of what is going to benefit us the most, and not just hop on the bandwagon when a company says, oh, you need to go paperless. No, we need to make sure that we're properly informed of our rights, right? So correction of a billing error. Okay, so what does it say? Written notice by the obligor to the creditor. Okay, when I initially began to go over some of the definitions in Truth in Lending, if you all recall, I specifically stated that it is very, very, very important, and I cannot stress this enough. It is so important that we are able to properly identify ourselves under each subsection to see who holds the liability, right? And so this particular section of Truth in Lending, if we are bringing a claim under Truth in Lending, a billing error dispute, there's two parties. There's the obligor and there's the creditor, right? There's the obligor and the creditor. And so the other day, I specifically stated why in some instances we can identify ourselves as the creditor, but in some instances we cannot, because it's going to depend on how the law defines you, right? So in this situation, we're actually the obligor. We are the obligor. So it's saying that there has to be some sort of written notice by the obligor to the creditor. So the creditor is going to be whatever the company is that you're doing business with, okay? Now, if a creditor within 60 days, now you see it gives you a time frame. It says within 60 days. So what does that mean? That means that in order for you to submit a billing error dispute to that company, you have to have a statement dated within the last 60 days, right? So we're in the month of March, okay? So that means that if your letter, let's say if you're looking to send a letter out tomorrow, you're gonna wanna have the statement issued in the month of March. If you don't have your current statement, then you can use the statement from February because we're in March, but you can't use a statement that's dated January 1st, right? Because it falls outside of that 60-day window. Today is March 15th. All right, so we want to make sure that we have a statement that is dated 60 days after having transmitted to an obligor a statement of the obligor's account in connection with an extension of consumer credit. So basically what they're saying is that your statements, if you're going to do a billing error dispute, you have to have a statement that's dated within 60 days, right? That's pretty much what that's saying, okay? You have to, the creditor has to receive information from you, the obligor, that allows them to easily identify the name and account number of you. You're the person, you're the obligor in this situation, so they have to be able to easily identify your account. Okay, so what information do you need to provide? At least your name, your address, and your account number so that they can easily identify your account, right? And so these points right here are all requirements of the obligor, okay? Because it's basically telling you what the creditor has to receive in order for it to be deemed a legitimate billing error dispute, okay? Indicates the obligor's belief that the statement contains a billing error and the amount of such billing error, okay? So then if you're receiving a monthly statement that says that you have a minimum payment of $40, but the total balance on your account is $5,000, you have to be very specific in stating if you're disputing the minimum payment amount of the $40 or the entire balance of the account. So you have to be very specific of what you're disputing. Okay, and then you have to actually state that it's a billing error. So this is your statement, your belief that the statement contains a billing error, right? So these are your requirements. This is what you have to do to notify a creditor that you actually have a billing error. So then what is going to constitute a billing error dispute? How do you know that you actually have a billing error? Okay, so let's talk about it. Of course, if you have a payment that you sent in that was not properly credited to your account, okay, that can definitely be, that can be viewed as a billing error on your end, because that is based on your understanding of how the account is going to work or is supposed to work. But what if I told you that there are other things going on with that account that you do not necessarily know, that should be brought to your attention, that would put visibility on the fact that every single statement that you receive every single month contains a billing error, but you're just not aware because you haven't read the law? Okay, so let's get into it. And I'm going to try my best to not go too deep with this, because I know that this is new information to a lot of people. So, but we're going to get into it, right? Okay. So we just went over 15 USC 1666, correction of a billing error. That subsection is advising you that you have to notify the creditor of a billing error within 60 days from the date of your statement. Okay. Regulation of credit reports. And basically what this section is saying, I'm not going to get too deep into this section, but what it's saying is that a creditor cannot take any adverse action against you in the form of negative credit reporting once you have notified them of a billing error dispute. Because when you notify the creditor of a billing error dispute, in essence, it is also a refusal to pay. Because under this subsection, if there's a billing error dispute, you have the right to withhold payment from that creditor when there is a billing error dispute. Okay, that's basically what this section is speaking about. It speaks about them not being able to adversely report negative information as a result of your refusal to pay the disputed amount when you submit a billing error dispute. That's basically what that's saying in layman's terms. All right. This section right here, timing of payment. So again, I'm not going to go too deep into this section, but I will read the first sentence to you. A creditor may not treat a payment on a credit card account under an open-ended consumer credit plan as late for any purpose. That's just what it says. Unless the creditor has adopted reasonable procedures designed to ensure that each periodic statement, including the information required by this subsection, is mailed or delivered to the consumer not later than 21 days before the due date. Okay, so when we click on that subsection, it's basically stating that there are certain disclosures that the creditor is supposed to provide you with 21 days prior to your statement due date. Now, these disclosures are separate from your monthly statement. So let me ask you a question. Are you receiving 2 envelopes every month in the mail from your creditor when a payment is due, notifying you of the appropriate disclosures that they're supposed to provide that is clear and conspicuous, and is clear and conspicuously informing you of your rights outside of your regular monthly statement? So think about that for a second. Typically, we just receive 1 envelope every month that has a monthly bill or invoice in it, right, for us to pay. Okay, so basically the way that I interpret this section is that, what is a 30-day late payment? Does it even exist? Is it defined as part of truth in lending? When I've gone through this subsection, I haven't seen anything in truth in lending that actually defines what a late payment is. The word late only appears in this section of truth in lending. It doesn't say anything about if the payment is not received within 30 days that it should be reported as late or flagged as late on your account. If you all can find it, please, by all means, let me know. Okay, I want to skip to treatment of credit balances because I want to make sure that this is a section that I go over today. Okay, this part right here is the real reason why I wanted to cover this particular section of truth in lending with you all today. Okay, now 15 USC 1666D addresses the treatment of a credit balance. Okay, so then what is a credit balance? if we're thinking about the old conventional way of what we're used to seeing in terms of what a credit looks like on our account, and that's what we will automatically think about. So when you have an account and, you know, the balance is $200, but you pay $220, you will automatically think that that $20 would be deemed as a credit balance, right? Because you pay $20 over the amount that the statement is showing that you owe. But it goes much deeper than that. Anytime that you look at a monthly statement that you receive, it fails to demonstrate your indebtedness because every statement that you receive is in a positive balance. Think about it. If you owed money on an account, if you borrowed $20,000, wouldn't your statement start out at a negative of $20,000, and every time that you made a payment each month, it would reduce the amount of that balance? It would bring it closer to a zero balance. Every statement that you receive says nothing about a negative balance. A negative means that you owe. A positive balance means that there's a surplus. And so what does the law say? It says, whenever a credit balance in excess of $1 is created in connection with the consumer credit transaction through transmittal of funds to a creditor in excess of the total balance due on an account, rebates of unearned finance charges or insurance premiums or amounts otherwise owed to or held for the benefit of an obligor, the creditor shall credit the amount of the credit balance to the consumer's account, refund any part of the amount of the remaining credit balance upon the request of the consumer. Now, I'm going to stop there because what did I say before in terms of who holds the debt obligation, public and private, for each consumer? And I have to take it back to 18 USC 8, obligation or other security of the United States defined. Right? This federal law is basically telling you that all debts, public and private, are the obligation of the United States. So if we're talking about something that is already paid for with our signature, then what exactly are we paying every month? What are we paying? If the obligation is already paid for, what are we paying? What are we paying? Because that obligation is defined as all bonds, certificates, bank currency, Federal Reserve notes, bank notes, treasury notes, gold certificates, silver certificates, fractional, everything. That's all legal tender. Is the obligation of the United States. So if every obligation is already paid for, then what are we paying? And if that statement is received that shows that there is a positive balance of $200 or whatever the amount is on your monthly statement, that is considered to be a credit balance in excess of $1. I cannot make this stuff up. I didn't write this. Congress wrote this. It is a credit balance in excess of $1. So then let me ask you a question. If it is a credit balance in excess of $1, and the law clearly states that the treatment of any credit balance is supposed to be refunded upon the request of the consumer, then why aren't you requesting your refund? Why are you not requesting your refund? Like, seriously, this is a legitimate question. Why are you not requesting your refund? Why are you taking money out of your hard-earned paycheck, right, and sending in a payment for a debt that you do not owe? Because remember, and I'm gonna take it back again, right? I'm gonna take it back. Let's take it back. Because I need to be able to tie this in for you all, right? I need to be able to tie this up for you, okay? The definition of a consumer. What is the definition of a consumer? Any natural person obligated or allegedly obligated. And like I said before, that or is literally giving you a right to choose. So if you take it back to the treatment of credit balances, is basically saying that you are choosing to pay this money when this debt is already paid. So when you pay a debt that's already paid again, you have paid the creditor twice because they are literally already paid. The balance is already paid. So this is an excess of the original obligation of the United States. You took out a loan for $5,000. The United States is supposed to cover that obligation. They do cover that obligation. You just have to submit the proper paperwork to reflect that that obligation has already been paid. So then why are we then going and paying another payment for an obligation that is already paid? So if the statement is coming to you in a positive balance, it's telling you that the United States has already covered that payment, and then you're going and making a second payment on top of the payment that has already been paid. And so you have created a credit balance in excess of $1 simply by signing your signature on a document, because as soon as you do that, the thing is already paid for. Credit balance in excess of $1. It says it right there in black and white. And so it is the responsibility of the creditor to refund any part of the amount of the remaining credit balance upon your request. Make a good faith effort to refund to the consumer. Here it says the consumer. Who's the consumer? A natural person that is obligated or allegedly obligated. So because you don't know your rights, you don't know that you have the right to choose not to pay something that is already being paid for by the United States, because it is their obligation. It's not yours, it's theirs, right? They have to refund you by cash, check, money order, or any part of the amount of the credit balance remaining in the account for more than 6 months. Okay. That is required. So the question again is, why are you not requesting your credit balances back? Because basically what's happening, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, and I'm gonna take you right to it. I'll tell you why you're not doing it. I'm gonna tell you why you're not doing it. I need you to follow me, all right? This is why you're not doing it. Because, and we went over this under the FDCPA, the reason why you are not claiming your credit balances is because these companies are furnishing a deceptive form. They're furnishing a deceptive form to you, creating a false belief in the consumer that a person other than the creditor of such consumer is participating in the collection of or in an attempt to collect the debt. That is why you are not exercising your consumer rights to collect your credit balance in excess of $1, because these companies every single month is furnishing you with a deceptive form. They are furnishing you with a deceptive form, creating a false belief that you are participating in the collection of a debt that of something that is already the obligation of the United States. And so when they create a false belief, that you owe this money, do you know what that is? That is racketeering and extortion. And let me see if I can find the law. It's racketeering and extortion all day. It's racketeering and it's extortion. There is no other way that I can put it. They are extorting money out of you. Here it is right here. 18 USC 1961. What is racketeering activity? Means any act or threat involving murder, kidnapping, gambling, arson, robbery, bribery, extortion. Extortion. So you wonder why some of these companies, some of these executives of some of these companies, you hear stories about them being brought up on racketeering charges. This is not just a mafia thing. This is not a mafia thing. We literally live in a country where there are corporate criminals extorting money out of us every single day, simply because we are not informed of our consumer rights. Period, point blank. Because we do not know that all obligations are the obligation of the United States. And so because all of our debts are already paid, every single statement that we receive in the mail every single month has a coupon attached to it. The coupon is the money. The coupon is the money. So we are supposed to be endorsing that coupon over back to the company so that they can zero out the debt. But because we don't know that we're supposed to do this, we do not. Because we are living constantly in a state of fear, because these companies are they're furnishing false and deceptive forms, right? Creating a false belief that we owe a debt that we do not owe. They're doing this to us, and we're allowing them to do, well, I'm not allowing them anymore. I will tell you right now, I'm not allowing these people to take advantage of me anymore. I am literally all in my process. I am in my processes, honey. And I am trying to give you all the information so that you can take advantage of knowing what your consumer rights are so that you can begin your administrative process as well. Right? It's here, clear as day. All right, so what did we go over today? I'm gonna keep going back to this because this is really where everything starts in knowing who holds the obligation of debt in this country, right? And so when you all look at, let's see if I can pull it up. Let's see if I can pull this up because I need to drive home this point for you all, right? Let's look at this. Okay, this is the United States debt clock. I don't know if any of you know what this is, or if you don't know what it is, okay, great. All right, so now the US national debt. You see how this number is constantly going up? It's literally moving by the seconds, right? It is literally moving by the seconds. Okay, so the reason why that number is constantly moving is because every single time we go and apply for a loan, every single time we go and apply for a credit card, anytime they use our social security number, money is created. But because we are not discharging our debt properly, this number right here is never going to go down. It's never going to go down, ever, until we start properly discharging our debt by, what did I say? Claiming our credit balances in excess of $1 because the obligation is already covered by the United States. It's already covered. And so what is preventing us from doing that is the fear tactics of these companies that are coming after us. They have the audacity to use our credit card, which is our unlimited open-ended account that was granted to us. They are using our money and lending it back to us with interest, and then have the nerve to create a credit profile that is supposed to reflect who we are without our permission, put all kinds of derogatory items on this credit report that is hindering us from being able to take advantage of this financial system. You tell me how that is not unfair and deceptive practices. Please explain it to me. These laws are not created for the type of criminals that you think. There are corporate criminals, white collar crime all over the place, and they are literally taking advantage of us every single day. So you focus on that statement that you get in the mail, and I need you to look at your monthly statement with a new set of eyes. It is not a debt that you owe. It is an excess. It is a credit balance because it is an excess of $1. And that is a credit balance that Congress states that you can claim because you are going to assert your rights as a consumer. This is important, y'all. I need y'all to get this. I need y'all to get this. I need you to get it. And I need you to study these laws because it's not just going to come to you. You have to pick up a book that have these laws in it. Use your phone, use your computer. I don't care what you have to do, but we have got to begin to study these laws, and we have to begin to read the back of our statements because they are hiding things from you in plain sight. And that's usually what happens. They hide things from you in plain sight. We have got to start paying attention. It is literally a matter of life or death. It's a matter of life or death. Because what did I say before? And I'm gonna take it back to the FDCPA, right? Congressional findings. Congress found something. And because they found something, that is the purpose for them writing this laws, declaration of purpose. There is an abundant evidence. The evidence is right in your face. The statements that you receive every single month is evidence of abusive, deceptive, and unfair debt collection practices. Abusive debt collection practices contribute to the number of personal bankruptcies, marital instability, the loss of jobs, right? And invasions of individual privacy. All abuse, all of it abuse, and they will continue to furnish deceptive forms, creating a false belief that you, the consumer, who is a natural person that is obligated or means the right to choose, allegedly obligated to pay any debt. All right, so whew, that was a lot. That was a lot. I know it's a lot of information. I promise you all that I will walk this out with you. And as I gain more clarity, I'm gonna do more videos. This is what I am being called to do. I'm being called to provide this information to you the way that I understand it, so that it is easy for you to understand, so that you can properly assert yourself as a consumer and literally take your life back. So this information is not only important for you, it's important for our babies to understand the way that this financial and this credit system is set up, so that when they go out into the world, they don't fall victim to the same debt trap. The same debt trap that we have fell a victim to. Yes, Nikki, I got you. Matter of fact, I'm gonna text you as soon as I get off this live because I'm gonna pull you into one of my groups. All right. Yes, I'm telling y'all, this is some serious stuff. So it's amazing to me because I was literally just talking about this to one of my colleagues. I'm like, I don't know what it is about the topic of credit, but people typically don't pay attention to it until they need it, right? Most people believe that if they make enough money, that credit will never be necessary to have. And that is entirely untrue. I know people that got tons of money, but they can't get approved for an apartment, right? Credit is going to be a factor. And truth, consumer laws is not just about credit. It is literally about stabilizing the economy. How can the economy be stabilized if you as a consumer do not have faith in the system and that the system is going to work for you? That's not stabilization. That's instability. That is literally instability. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close on that point. I hope that this information was useful to you. I really, really, truly hope and pray that the information that I've been able to give you over the last 3 weeks is useful to you. So again, please share this broadcast out, share this video out. My name is Tamara T. Bush, and I am breaking down consumer law in a easy way for you to understand, so that you can take the information, apply it to your life, and properly assert yourself. All right. So you all make it a great evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I appreciate you. I love you all. I really, really do appreciate you all. Yeah, and peace and blessings. You all have a great evening, y'all. I will see y'all in the next video. I'm out.